Channel called Swiss Tesla Fan. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun with the cone detection. So I'm going to be driving to places where I know there are cones, and people are just cutting my way here. That's very nice. Basically, cone detection doesn't detect just cones. It actually detects any kind of object that indicates where you should go. So you'll see you see this little pole here shows up sometimes as a cone. So it's looking for objects that have, like, I'm guessing, some kind of reflective surface or that matches a certain pattern. And so you see here, it also detected those as cones. So although they're represented as cones on the screen, they don't necessarily have to be cones. And so the car is actually detecting these objects. The idea is that it should route around them when it's in autopilot. On another note, I've been using now for a few days the stopping hold mode. So that's the new mode that came with 2019.36.2.1, and that uses regenerative braking and combines them with brakes all the way to a stop. And I must say, I'm really fond of it. It's a really great feature. In a way, you wish it was there since you bought the car, because you would have gotten used to it faster. But for example, here I can bring myself to a complete stop without having to touch the brake. It's really smooth. Also there's no hiccup or anything. The only thing you have to be very careful with is that it's not a hard stop like you could do with the brakes. So the car will continue moving a little bit. As you see here, it continues to move even after I've almost taken my foot completely off the accelerator. So you do have to take that into account. It's not a problem most of the time, especially in regular traffic. But if you're like coming into a parking garage and you have to get the ticket at the distributor, then it can become an issue, because you might have missed the machine. It never happened to me, but basically there were some cases where I kind of was misaligned with it. So yeah, that's stuff that you might encounter. Okay, so here we're getting to some construction and some road work, and basically we're going to see how it detects the cones. And actually you'll see that the cone detection is quite fun, because it's pretty precise, and it shows up a lot of these objects on the screen. So again, here I got to complete stop without having to do anything. Without putting my foot on the brake, I mean. So one thing, we're on a pretty long light here, these Roadwork lights. One thing is, now I don't know what to do with my foot, because it feels weird to put it on the brake if I don't need to. I'm in hold here, so the car's not going to go anywhere. But I don't want to leave it on the gas pedal, because on the accelerator, because I don't want to suddenly start the car. So yeah, I'll have to figure out what I want to do with my right foot when I'm actually waiting at a long light. Right now I have it sort of bent, but I might just ended up putting it on the brake as I used to. It's a long habit that I have. But yeah, you have to sort of learn these changes. It's really a different way of driving, but it's fun. Okay, here we go. So watch the screen for the cone detection. So you'll see here it's detecting a lot of objects. So actually they've removed most of the cones that were here. But you'll see, these are not cones, but these are like panels. You'll see them, these are the ones on the left here. And maybe also even some on the right. I can pick them up pretty far sometimes. So this is a feature that only exists in hardware 3. Even Model 3s that have hardware 2.5 did not get this improvement. So I'm guessing it's really something to do with the power, computational power of hardware 3. So we're going to turn here. And so yeah, people with older hardware will have to have it replaced if they bought FSD. I'm not sure what happens if you didn't buy FSD, that's full self-driving, for your Model 3 and you want to upgrade to hardware 3. I'm guessing you would have to pay for either a full self-driving hardware or for the computer. I'm not sure exactly what Tesla offers there. Myself, I don't have that problem because I did buy the FSD, and I also have hardware 3. Although I have a very early version, so we'll see if at any time they have to update it. Because when I opened up the car to check which version of the hardware I had, so I just opened the glove, the panel on top of the glove compartment, actually underneath it, and I checked there, and I have a computer that dates back to December 2018. So it's a pretty early version of hardware 3. The car was assembled later, but the computer dates back to December. So I know that some computers are more recent. I'm not sure if they've had iterations on it already, or if everything was, if the chips were actually built in December 2018. But yeah, so we'll have to see. But so far, I'm getting the full feature set, so I'm pretty happy with that. But as a software engineer, I know that these things can always change and have revisions and improvements. One thing here, you might see these poles here. These are winter poles, and so those are there for something that almost never happens here. But in case you have a big amount of snow on the road and you don't know where the road is anymore. So those are supposed to only be needed in cases where you have like only 50 meters of snow on the road. But I was wondering if they would be picked up as cones, but they're not. So that's interesting. Maybe they should be, and maybe the AI will have to learn from that. I'm not sure if this exists in other countries, but it's something they install every winter here in Switzerland. So we'll be getting to some construction here, some road work. And so I'm going to slow down, and we're going to see how it picks up the cones and what it tries to do in terms of, I'm going to try to keep auto steer on, but we'll see how it behaves, because it sometimes gets confused pretty quickly, so I have to take over, but we'll see what it does. I've done it a few times here, and sometimes it does it really well, sometimes it gets confused. But it's true that these lines are not always as clear as they should be. So let's see here, for example, what it does. So you see some cones there. Yeah, and here there's still that bug with the lane change. Okay, so now it seems to be behaving pretty well, ignoring that sort of dashed line, white dashed line, for the moment at least. Let's see what happens here. Is it confused or not? No. It's asking me to change lanes to follow route. I don't agree with that. Yeah, okay, so I had to take over there. I don't know if you noticed, but actually the car started going to the left. I felt the steering wheel go straight to the left. Go hard to the left, so I took over. Yeah, so yeah, here you can see these cones, but clearly Roadwork still not something that works really well with autopilot, so I really advise you to be careful with it. not trust it in Roadwork. It can be helpful. For example, cruise control, adaptive cruise control. I use that through the construction. Most of the time, it works pretty well. I just have to watch out here. There are some more cones up, and some more here. And yeah, so sometimes I do have to take it off to let cars in, because it won't always let cars in. It's interesting. So yeah, as soon as we get out of this Roadwork, we will be able to put auto steer back on. And also in this tunnel, not in this direction, but in the other direction, it also does a strange movement to the left or to the right, I don't remember. And I always take over at that point. So, and it's a very repeatable, so it must be something that disturbs it, but I didn't check the video, but maybe I should, to figure out what it's misinterpreting as something it should avoid. Okay, so now we can go back into navigate on autopilot because we're out of the Roadwork. And we're also done with cones. I don't think there are any more. Oh yes, there might be another location where there's cones on the highway. Okay, so as this tunnel ends, we'll have a little bit of construction and hopefully some cones. So let's see. And we'll probably have some sun glare too. So it looks like we're going directly into the sun, so we'll see how well it does that. Okay, so here we have some cones. We should. No? Oh yes. I detected those really late though. That's not good. Here, there's 2 or 3 more. Yeah, those are detected not at all maybe. We have our last cones here. Let's see how well it does. Yeah, here it detected those pretty well. So that's a good example where cones are useful because they made the road a little bit smaller, and the cones were indicating that. So proper detection there is important for automated driving. Okay, so we'll reach our destination. So that's it for this video about cone detection. I hope you liked it. It's always a little bit of fun, I think, this new system. And so if you like this video, make sure to put a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when I release my next video, usually once a week on Sunday. And also, if you have any questions or comments, I love your feedback. Some of you guys have really given me great feedback, and thank you so much for that. And also, if you're interested in buying one of these incredible cars, you really should use a referral code. You will get 1,500 kilometers of free supercharger electricity, and so will I. So it's a win-win situation. And yeah, so I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, have safe driving and enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.